All right, so today we are going to finish lesson 8. So this is your lesson 8 packet, and this is page 4. So at the end of yesterday's lesson, we were talking about the update player code, and we were talking about conditionals and how we're going to change the x and y coordinates. So today we're actually going to write the function, okay? So we are going to write a function called update player, which takes in the player's x coordinate, y coordinate, and name of the arrow key pressed, and returns the new x coordinate and y coordinate. So it's taking in a whole bunch of stuff and returning a couple of things. So it's taking in the x and y coordinates, those are both numbers, and the name of the key, which means it's a string. And it's going to return the new x and y coordinates. So it's going to give us two numbers. Okay, so there's a bunch of things going on here. So for example, update player 128, 250 up. So that means the 128 and 250 is the original coordinate of the player, and I want to move it up. So again, remember from yesterday, anytime we hit the arrow, the player is going to move 20 pixels in that direction. Okay, so again, consider our x and y axes. If we're moving up, we're increasing the y value. Okay, so I'm gonna change the weight of my pencil here because we're gonna run out of room. So I want to make position. If we're changing the y value, the 128 isn't gonna do anything. So we're gonna leave 128. But I wanna add 20 to the y value. So 250, 20. Okay. Second example, update player 451, 200 up. So again, we're changing the y value. So the 451 stays the same, and we're going to add 220. Okay? So, the next example. Update player 128, 250 down. So now I want to change the y value still, but we're decreasing it. So we're going to subtract. So the x value stays the same, but we're going to subtract 250 and 20. Okay. The next one, same thing except we're moving down. So we have 451 minus 220. That doesn't look like a 4. Okay. So the next one, now we're moving to the right. So if I'm moving to the right, we are changing the x value and we're increasing the x. So this would be plus 128, 20, and the y value stays the same, 250. Okay, same thing for the next one. We're moving to the right, so this would be plus 451, 20, 200. Okay, and then the last two, we're moving to the left, so we're going to subtract 128, 20, 250, and then subtract 451, 20, 200. Okay, so again, remember, we have to circle the parts of these that changed. So let's look at this. The 128 and 451, so those were different. The 250, 200, those were different. And the direction we were moving, right? Because each of those represents something about the domain. So again, the first one was the x value, the second one was the y value, and the third one was the arrow key. essentially. Okay, so when we're looking at our functions here, we were changing these ones. And these ones. Again, those were our x and our y. Okay, so if we want to define this, we put the x value, the y value, and the arrow key. So if we moved up, the x value stayed the same, and we added 20 to the y value. So this is going to say x plus the y value and 20. The exact same thing is happening when we're moving down, except we're subtracting. Okay, then we move to the right. We added 20 to the x value, and the y value stayed the same. So this would be plus x 20 y. And the same thing is true for left, except we're subtracting. So subtract x 20 y. Okay, so now ideally we would have to type this all in so that you can update the player in your video game. However, I have already given you the code for this. Okay, so if you open up your video game file, what we're gonna do is in Schoology, I have given you the Word document for the update player function. So all we need to do, just like you did for the danger and safe left and safe right, we're gonna copy in all of this code that's right here. You don't have to type anything in, it's already done for you. Okay, so in your video game file, when we scroll down here, number 1, number 2, so number 3, right here around line 90, depending on how your game is spaced out, get our player moving, define update player Y key. This is everything you're going to delete out. Okay, and then in your Word document, we are going to copy all of this over and paste it in. Okay, and then once you do this, when you click run in your video game, your target and your danger will move around the screen and you can control your player. So I'll give you guys a sneak peek at my game.